right. This is episode 204 of the No Hangover Podcast. Back with another one. We got a guest today, a fellow podcaster. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man. Plug yourself up. Let them know what's good.
Yo, Guyzer. It's Guyzer from Guyzer Outlet, man. Just coming in, checking out the No Hangover Podcast, man. Wanting to get more behind the why, get more of an understanding because of what the podcast is, and just trying to get more of a understanding of you, really.
Word. So, what is your podcast about? What do you do? What are you, podcasting about?
So
bringing on interviews, shit like that.
Right, like Guyzer Outlet. Really, mainly, it's really just getting local Orlando artists. Anywhere from it could be from here in Altamont. It could be just little cities here in Florida. I'm trying to just dive in, trying to really take over the Orlando scene. Just trying to get in specific topics with certain artists about what goes on behind the music and stuff like that. Their come up because Florida is a hot state. We got a lot of local artists that
Orlando's coming up specifically too.
Yeah, in Orlando too. So that's really I'm trying to get into the before the come up of the some of the younger artists.
We're trying to get that fucking inside scoop. Was there anything what made you want to do a podcast? Was there some type of inspiration? Do you do music yourself, or is just in proximity to people and you just kind of what was that inspiration to do a podcast?
Really mainly because when I'm out and about, it's almost like I'm always doing interviews in a way, I always want to get to in the people's thought process, but really made me get into podcasting / interviewing people. The guy named Tippy Toe from Gold Money Girls, Put Your Money Where Your Mouth Is. Right. That guy, the Glee guy. I seen him do a podcast with Coley P. I don't know if you know what Coley P is. Used to be with Kodak back in the day. He's not really as hot as he is. But and it was like the guy named Tippy Toe. I don't know. It's just like the way he would ask serious questions, the way he would be funny. Just trying to get that out of people. And I just feel like podcasting and interviewing is just something that can last forever. Like DJ Vlad, Say Cheeses of the world and stuff like that. So kind of diving into that really.
Word. How long have you been doing it for?
So I think I'm on year 3 now. I started 2023, so I'm not really too deep in the game.
Yeah.
But I love doing it, bro. Every interview I do, it's like you meet new people. It's like you branch off into little more sections and stuff like that. So I like tapping in.
Yeah, I think that for me at least, I feel like that's one of the most rewarding parts is just sitting down with somebody and fucking getting to know them past what their title is, what their label is, and shit like that. I've had some artists on, I've had some friends on. I've had, actually, I think in December I had a published author. She published 2 books, so that was something different. But just. That's what they put out on social media and shit. For me, at least, I want to get past that. It's like, all right, I know you've done this, you've done that, your accolades, you've already put that out there. That's what people know. Who are you though? Who are you as a person? What's making you tick? What's making you go? What's the motivation behind all this shit? So, it definitely, podcasting is probably, for me at least, the best way to do that. Because with music, there's only so much you could do. You're only putting out a 2.5, 3 minute song at most. So there's only so much you can convey through music. And plus nowadays, especially in what type of genre you're in, you're really putting on a front for the most part. You're putting on some type of facade. You're playing some type of character. So it's not even really it's part of you, but it's not really the whole person. And podcasting, again, especially for me, since we do it a little bit more, long form, hour-long podcast, you can sit down and, get to know some shit about somebody, in an hour time and kind of, build on that shit. So
that's another thing too. I love listening. The truth can come from anybody. It can come from a homeless dude. It can come from, what I'm saying? Sometimes they got some crazy stories and they look at me weird for listening to this dude. I'm like, I'm just wanting to see his input. You never know what you can hear from somebody. So
right.
You judge a book by its cover.
Right. Especially because you don't know where that person came from. Especially like you said, a homeless person. How'd they get to that point? We all come. We were all a baby at one point. Came out of our mother. Hopefully had some type of love in our life, and at some point it just went sideways. So now you're homeless. How'd you get to that point?
I definitely might start doing some. might ask him.
Hey, do that shit. That shit would be fucking.
I want to know sometimes, bro. Like, well, how you do this shit every day? You
For
know what I'm saying?
real.
Maybe you spend 24 hours outside. I don't
For
know.
real. Especially like if you're like around somewhere, like it's in your community, and you see the same homeless person, you know, working the same corner, panhandling, all that shit. It's like, for me, sometimes like I'll see that shit and I'll start like, if I see them, you know, 2-3 weeks in a row, I'll start creating a little backstory and shit. And
Right.
I'll start fucking making their story. But like, you know, if you know, doing one better, just like, hey, you want to sit down with me? I'll interview you for like 30 minutes, and you
Right.
just fucking say whatever the fuck comes to your mind.
For me, it's definitely fun playing along with their bullshit.
Hell
you know,
yeah.
they'll be like, man, I need $20. I'm trying to go to Miami. I gotta, and you see them there the same week. Like, hey man, you still here? You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
What happened to Miami, dog?
I love tuning in their bullshit.
Oh,
I
fuck.
spend maybe a little too much time in bullshit, but I do love it.
I mean, I find it fun. I was it in December. I went. My dad lives in St. Augustine, and I went up there. We took an Uber to go. They do all like the lights and shit, and light up St. Augustine and all that shit. Bro, our Uber driver, bro, he fucking rapped for us. He recited poetry for us. He was telling us about all the different types of drugs he's taking and all that shit. And I'm just like, you know, of a band. It's like they're like in the early 2000s, 90s, called Sublime.
Right.
They were a rock band. He said I partied with them before and all this shit, bro. And the whole time I'm just like, oh, word, like, yeah, like, bro, what else? And like just egging him on just to get more out of him. Cause it's like, to me, it's like, bro, if this guy's willing to fucking rap to some fucking random ass people for a fucking Uber, like, I wonder what his life was like what he was doing. Like, he's fucking cool as fuck. I forget his name though. I think it was like Terry or fucking Charlie or some shit like that. But shout out to you.
Shout out to Terry. The last couple Ubers, bro, maybe they've been disappointed, bro, because I'm under my baby mama's. I'm under her profile. If I have to use Lyft, I'm under her profile.
Damn.
So they're pulling up. They're expecting the girl to get so pissed with
It's
me.
like, who the fuck is this? Damn.
I'm like, damn, they trying to think of a girl, have a conversation with a girl. The whole Uber be quiet as fuck.
Nah,
I ain't
awkward as
getting
fuck.
nothing.
Like, so,
But sometimes I like that type of shit, bro. I go to sleep easy, bro. So I just go to sleep in the car real quick.
damn, take a quick
But I haven't
nap.
took a lift in a while. Only if, you know, if your car's down or something like that, or you on vacation or something.
Damn, nah. I did Uber Eats for a little bit, but like Ubering people around, like driving people around, that shit seems kind of sketchy. I'm sure like it's not that bad because obviously they fucking made a great fucking business model out of it, but like, I don't know, just the idea of someone that I don't know sitting behind me in this car, I don't really know what they're about and all that shit. I get kind of fucking, I get a little sketched out still. I'm like, nah. Cause I'm still the type of dude that if I fucking sit in a restaurant, like I don't like having my back to the fucking exit. Like I like to see everything around me.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, just because it's like, man, if some shit goes down, like I'm trying to fucking exit plans and fucking strategy and get the fuck out of here. Like,
and it can go down at any time,
bro.
So
Real
you
shit.
gotta be aware of that.
Real shit, dog. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just fucking me being paranoid. But
No, I feel you because sometimes I'd be in line and somebody too close to me. You know what I'm saying I want to say something. I mean, maybe that's just me, you know. But I don't know if they're too close behind me. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to twirl my pen and you still close behind
for
me.
real,
You know what I'm saying? So it's
trying
like,
to fucking steal your fucking money. What's so you said you've been doing this for 3 years now. What's the, I mean, it doesn't have to be the craziest, but first thing that comes, like the most memorable interview you've done.
Man, so the most memorable interview I've done, and I'm not gonna get too much in detail because it's kind of hot, police wise, federal wise. So I interviewed, man, I can't even say his name because, so I interviewed this guy from he's kind of from Pine Hills area.
Yeah.
It's just me and my cameraman. We pull up. It's just me and my cameraman. My cameraman is younger than me. You know, he's like 16, 17-year-old, boy really. And like we pull up. I should have known. But we pull up and he got like he like 8, 10 deep with it. You know what I'm saying?
God damn,
like
he
10,
got the fucking
10, dude.
gang
They all
with him.
strapped up. You feel me? I'm in they hood. I'm in they spot. So that's kind of my podcast. I might pull up on you. You can pull up to us. That's how I kind of do it. Like, whatever's convenient for them, really. So I go up, man, and it's just like, I knew they were kind of hot at that time, but I kind of messed up their gang name. And man, they got real pissed off, bro. So it's like, yeah, I messed up their name, bro. And like,
man, you fucking
hey,
sinned.
Chico, he called the main nigga out. I'm like, man, and I was a little shook though, bro. I was like,
nah, it's not like that.
yeah,
Chill out,
exactly, bro. I was like, bro,
fucked up. I'm sorry.
I was like, what I told him, I got dyslexia, bro. Sometimes it's hard to pronounce some words and shit like
Give
that.
me a book. I'll prove that shit. I can't read shit.
So I was trying to make up anything, bro. It could have really went south because, like, I'm not gonna get into too much details, but later some of these guys are in the video. They got in trouble for killing like a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old in the house and shot
God
the wrong
damn.
crib. I don't want to get too much into that because I don't know if they can tie that together and stuff like that. Though. But
damn.
I'm like, man, but I already kind of knew, like, I had a feeling that, man, these dudes might really blow some shit for real. So it's like, but that was kind of like the most interesting interview I've done so far. Really.
That shit really does put shit in perspective how fucking fragile shit could be.
Yeah, they were like, they had like, it was a Say Cheese news article of these guys, these very same guys that are in the video, you know what I'm saying? That, when I interviewed this one artist in Pine Hills, so I was like, man, there's really deeper levels to it. They really, I guess, what they rap about.
For real. So, hey, that's what they want, the authenticity. How many? So is it? You said you have a camera guy. Is it just you and the camera guy? You still have the camera guy, or like how do you run your operation over there?
Man, these little youngins, bro. These youngins they're so smart, and he's getting into school, so I don't really have that guy as much. Now I just got my homeboy really recording for me, and I'm just kind of winging it the best I can that way. Luckily, I've been running into good lighting, good audio. Still managing to pick up due to the location that I've set up, but just been able to finesse in the location because I'm not really in editing. I just do my little cuts. I can't really add, you know what I'm saying? I can add little stuff here and there, but I'm not too crazy with the editing. So it's all on me, bro, really. So it's really just Guyzer Outlet is just all on me, really.
I feel that though.
I ain't gonna lie to you, bro.
Bro, you got the fucking weight of the world on your shoulders right now, bro.
It's hard.
Trying to fucking make it happen.
I actually have to pay a camera guy. My boy wanted to set me up on the contract. I'm like, God, my dude, I don't know if I can financially stay up to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, bro, because I don't get paid off this, you know what I mean? So all of it's just really just all promotion, really, for me. That's really just trying to build the channel, trying to make it like a reliable channel you can come to, be like, hey, this guy's giving out valid information. And I feel like that kind of gets lost in it. Like, I mean, I've been doing this for a while, and people are, like, I want to do a podcast. Like, I think we should, I've been told I could do a podcast and all that. And I'm like, you're right, you can do it, but like, it takes, again, like we were talking about earlier with relationships, it takes more than just doing the podcast. Right. Like the what somebody tells you, it's like, oh yeah, you just get on the mics and talks, but it's much, there's so much more to, like you said, the audio, the recording, the editing, the cuts, the running the social media, like, making sure that, when you post shit on YouTube, you get the right tags and put the right description so it's in the algorithm. Like, there's so much more to it, and people just kind of like think it's fucking cake, and one person can do it, like it's that's easy, and it's like, nah, like having help fucking helps. Like having somebody that knows, the production and editing side fucking helps. Like having somebody that's good. Like I didn't know how fucking complicated audio can be until fucking I started fucking with the audio, and like you can leave something set for one episode, have it sitting there, you plug everything up, and then the audio's off, and you haven't moved a fucking piece of equipment, and the audio's off a little bit, so you gotta start toying with that shit, and like, you start getting into like the nitty gritty of it, and like what it actually takes to fucking do a podcast, and then on top of that, fucking be consistent with it. Exactly.
So what is your end goal with it? Like what is bigger picture? What do you want for Guyzer Outlets? Like what is the main goal?
Really trying to reach like a Stephen A. Smith type of level, where I'm really trying to use this interview platform, really just to like solidify myself, give myself a name, really, I really, that's a good question, man. But it really, my dream and goal is like to be on like a Stephen A. Smith type of thing, like have a debate show, maybe like try to get to that type of level. It's unexpected, it's nothing. I mean, I'm not really delusional for thinking that. But I mean, it could get to that point, though. I
mean, fuck, that's the beautiful thing about, for as much as I shit on social media and shit like that, the great thing about it is that it cuts out the middleman. Right. That you don't need to go to like a news outlet, or you don't need to go to like a media company. Like, if you have the equipment and you have the drive to do it, you could, you put in those 10,000 hours on your own time and do it how you want to do it. And then eventually, something's going to click. I mean, I was just listening to... Damn, I forget what podcast it was, but Drewski was on it, and that's a great example. I mean, he was just doing fucking social media, fucking Kai Cenat on fucking. He's got T-Mobile fucking commercials, McDonald's commercial, and all this shit, and he was just from streaming. That's it. So it's like, everything has its good and bad, but the fact that you're able to cut out that middleman and do things on your own, and and learn these things and take it and make it what you want to make it, and you can still land yourself a fucking, get that T-Mobile money, get that fucking McDonald's money, get fucking, get these bigger brands to fucking, here, fucking endorse our shit, we'll sponsor you.
And I want to know, like, what happened, like, before? How did these dudes first start? Because nowadays, people watch stream because, hey, they might have Trippie Redd over here, or they might have just, like, a favorite celebrity. Like, when you had Kevin Hart there, he had Drewski in there. Like, how did they start off, doing this stuff? Being a regular guy and you're just streaming.
Entertaining. I know. It's, part of it is too, like, knowing the algorithm. With streaming, I don't know as much of how that gets going, but like, it's all essentially, what you're typing into your, descriptions or your captions when you're posting on Instagram or TikTok, the hashtags that you put on there, getting yourself into the algorithm. And then also part of it is, being entertaining, or if you're not entertaining, giving information that people want to listen to, or like, being digestible to some extent.
Like Joe
Rogan. I fuck with Joe Rogan. I listen to his podcast regularly. Any fucking, whether it's a music podcast, fucking Drink Champs, or fucking $1 million worth of game, or, any of that shit, fucking, you name it. But like it helps if you already have some type of notoriety. Like Joe Rogan, obviously he already had some type of notoriety. Fucking all that shit. So it helps that if you have that. But we've seen again, Kai Cenat, fucking, whatever fucking streamer that's coming up from just playing video games and talking shit, and they're just entertaining. It fucking catches fire, and then you run with it. But also what kind of, I feel like, gets lost too is that anybody can get hot, as we've seen. Like anybody can go viral. Anybody can fucking, the Hawk Tua girl, fucking, she literally said I spit on dicks and got fucking went viral.
That's crazy.
But it also, like, once you catch that fire, it's like, can you maintain the flame? That's
they
usually it fucking fizzles out, and they have their little, what used to be 15 minutes of fame feels like 15 seconds of fame now.
I mean, Woah Vicky's still on a run, I guess.
Woah Vicky, what's the other one? Fucking Bad Baby.
Bad Baby. She's, I don't know. She's still got a major following with her and her baby daddy.
Yeah.
But a lot of these people, sometimes they could be in their own realm and still be popular.
But I feel like that goes into the oversaturation of things. That there's so many streamers now. There's so many fucking YouTube pages and podcasts and shit that it's easy to lose track of certain people because you're paying attention to what you want to pay attention to.
Right.
There's podcasts that are, specifically geared to what your interests are, and you will just listen to that, or, fucking whatever reason. But like, music, fucking podcasts, TV shows, like it's all oversaturated. So you can find something that is specific to what you want and never fucking listen to any of the big names or whatever and anything like that, because you're just in your own world.
Right.
So another one, fucking Shannon Sharp, Club Shay Shay, Nightcap, all that shit. I mean, he fucking blew up. Luckily, I mean, again, he already had some notoriety. He was in the NFL. He was already doing analysis and all that shit for NFL Network and ESPN and all that shit. But once he branched off and did his own thing, that shit fucking blew up.
Yeah, he low-key started off being like a LeBron supporter. I think it really started with Skip Bayless, being undisputed and stuff like that. That's how it really crazy how it really became just like a LeBron supporter, just branching off to doing his own thing and talking like to Cat Williams, and that's crazy. That
Cat Williams one was the one
most controversial interview ever. Yeah. I'm surprised he's still alive for spreading some of the truth. Maybe I don't know, but that was crazy though.
I think with some of that shit though, especially with Cat Williams, which I do think he was saying some real shit, but like he also does kind of have a past of where he was getting beat up by that kid, and he kind of was, he was a little crazy. So like you can kind of label that, you can put that label on him. It's like, oh yeah, well he's saying this, but look what he's done before. And I feel like if you're in that type of power, in that type of light, like you'll just go to that. It's like, oh well, he's crazy. Like you can't really take what he's saying, for face value. And then it's really all about is just distorting the truth to just enough to where you make people question it, because they can still believe it. But if they're questioning it, then they're not gonna buy in as much. They're not gonna fucking ride on something as much and shit like that. They're just kind of like, just kind of come and go in their mind.
But doesn't kind of everybody have their crazy moments? Like everybody that's
of course,
up there, like Kanye West, what he did, paparazzi, Charleston White, his
Charleston White's fucking wild.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
bro.
God. But even he says some wild shit that is like, oh my fucking God, like what the fuck? But like,
he says it's a character, so they always contradict themselves in one way or
well, and I feel like that's part of it too. Like again, like just like in rap, just like in music, like a lot of these TV personalities are playing a character. They're playing devil's advocate. They're taking one side, whether they agree with it or not, and making a case and making an argument for it. Whether it's something crazy or whether it's something that is based off fact or based off truth, and they're just saying outlandish shit. Like a lot of these, and that's again, I feel like why a lot of people have lost trust in the media is because people are starting to figure out that it is just people are putting on a face. Like they're just saying shit because this company is telling them you have to pick a side and then, argue that side.
Which is kind of like the victim of a lot of mainstream sports, what teams they pick, who they really repping,
Yep.
Man, sports nowadays, man, it really sucks because it's like they're only talking about like mainstream names like LeBron, or they barely talk about that team. Like, they barely talk about the little teams or something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not what pushes the needle anymore. Like, now that we're on a 24-hour news cycle now, like before, like you had your, segmented times, and, Sports Center was coming on at, during the week at 6:00, you get your Sports Center, and then, whatever event after that. Now, I mean, they have fucking talk shows all through the morning talking about all the same shit. Like it's a 24-hour news. So you kind of, I mean, it kind of is surprising that they don't talk about the little stuff as more, because it seems like you might run out of shit to fucking talk about if you're 24 hours. Yeah. Guys, but that's what brings people to the TV though.
Yeah. Talking about LeBron's going to bring you to TV.
Yeah. I mean,
more debate they still drag to this day. MJ versus LeBron. They still drag
LeBron all day. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I don't give a fuck what the old heads say. I'll fucking argue that until I'm blue in the face.
But it's kind of like, seeing that, it's like, hard for me to watch sports nowadays because like I feel like everything is so predetermined, so scripted.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I'm still tuning in.
Yeah,
just because everybody else is. But.
Yeah. I mean, I like sports. There's certain teams that before go Birds, go Eagles. We about to go to the bowl, win that thing. But I just watch it more at this point for the entertainment of it. I don't really. The only team that I really have a rooting interest in is the Eagles. I pay attention to the Magic, obviously, being from Orlando, shit like that, and I want them to succeed. But I, just like most basketball fans, I want to see. And I'm not a LeBron hater. I'm a LeBron. I think he's the GOAT in basketball. So like, I want to see him succeed. I want to see him, get rings and win. And so there's no argument. So in that aspect. But I also feel like that is just kind of for basketball at least. Basketball has always been very star driven. Like it is, after MJ retired in the early to mid 2000s, before LeBron really took over, like, people want to point to Kobe being the face now, but at that time there was no like legitimate face of the league. Like you had Tim Duncan, but the Spurs were kind of boring as an organization. Like they won, but there wasn't anything flashy. You had the Lakers, but they were Shaq and Kobe there, so there's kind of like a Batman Robin type thing. You had, I mean, at that time LeBron had kind of already taken over, but like, Tracy McGrady, like Vince Carter, there was a lot of people that kind of like could have done it, but never really took it to the next level. And then LeBron comes, and from my perspective, from my point of view, my opinion, as I want to say like 06 until about 2018, 2019, LeBron every year has been the best player in the league.
Because those head-to-head matchups, even when he was first on the Cavs, when he had nobody, he was playing over the Gauskas and
fucking Boobie Gibson and fucking nobodies.
Just complete nobodies. He was still, beating Kobe head-to-head at those times when Kobe was going back-to-back at 09, 2010, and with those things. But it's like the dark side of the NBA. I keep seeing more and more of that. LeBron at 38 years old scores 38 points to pass Kareem for 38,000 points. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, man, it's so the coincidences like that, stuff like that.
You think all this? I mean, what do you think? You think this shit's rigged? Do you think there's something like?
Definitely. What happened in 01 where it's the Shaq and the Sacramento Kings, the Lakers, just kind of forcing them forcing they get like 40 free throws, game 7 or something like that. Some crazy number. It's hard for me to really remember the numbers, but that Kobe game, bro. Kobe's last game when he scored 60, right? So he scores 60. My bad, my phone was going
No, you good. I didn't even hear it.
In his 60th, like in his last game, right? He scored 60. He walks off the court with, man, because it really goes in deep, man. Because
I think I saw that with the time and everything.
He walked off. Then he walked
like
off
equal
with
41 or some shit like that, and he died when he was 41.
Yeah, it was 4.2 seconds left. He hits his last goal, field goal, like his last
free throw
jumper.
Yeah,
but he hits a jumper on number 41, Tyler Ziles or something like that. What age does Kobe die?
41.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like
I mean,
man.
But a deeper question then, and you don't have to answer if you don't want. But like spiritually, do you feel like you religious? Are you spiritual? Like, what are you believing in? Like, what is your belief system? And I'm gonna preface this by saying, like, I'm someone that I'm spiritual. Not that I have anything against religion or anything like that. I just feel like that's what's kind of like that's what I have found in my own, walk of life and whatever. But one thing that I do think is important, regardless if it's spiritual or religion or science or whatever the fuck it is, I do feel like people have, like, as a person, you have to have faith in something. You have to believe in something. If not, it's very easy to, what is my purpose? What is the point of all this? And really get, lost in that. So that's why I asked, because I do know a few people that just don't believe in anything.
I'm not one of those people.
Yeah.
I'm not atheist. I'm Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ. And I started out, my parents, got me more involved, but then I kind of seen it for what I see it as.
Yeah.
And it's like people nowadays, they always mock Jesus Christ, and Christianity is probably like the most mocked religion out of them all. They always,
it's definitely up there. Yeah.
When what's his name came back from that cardiac arrest he had from the Buffalo Bills, what's his name?
Damar Hamlin.
Damar Hamlin. What happened with him? He comes back after after having a heart attack on the field, something very rare. He has a heart attack in the field. Wasn't he playing for the Buffalo Bills?
Yeah,
at that time, right?
He still plays for him. Yeah.
Same time, the U.S. dollar bill collapse, and we start, all bricks. It's pretty crazy if you look at the timeline. That's why I'm saying with the scripts and stuff like that. But Damar Hamlin comes back. He's wearing like a SpongeBob Jesus, like a mockery. It's all ugly. It's like on some big designer thing, and he decides to make his major return with that mockery. You know what I'm saying? It's like when they keep on, like sometimes they're fighters after the fight, they'll be like, I want to thank Jesus Christ. They'll block it out of the mainstream TV.
Yeah.
So it's like they try every way to try to mock him, the Antichrist, the upside down crosses that Playboy Cardi or a lot of satanic rappers would represent.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, it's just a mockery. They trying to kind of poop on him, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Kind of use the same word in the same sense like that, but they're kind of trying to shit on Jesus Christ, because I feel like they know he's real,
Yeah. No, and I feel that. Like I said, I'm not very religious, but I'm also not going to fucking look down on somebody or kind of laugh at somebody for their beliefs. Because at the end of the day, I don't know what the fuck is going on.
That's true.
I don't
faith
know.
Is hope.
Right. I don't know.
Jesus Christ,
right.
Faith is hope.
Yeah. It's like, I can't, like, and I feel like that's part of it though, too. Like, I believe what I believe, but I'm also aware enough to know that what I believe might not be true.
Right.
And it's just what I believe. And what the next person might believe, hey, if that's what's getting them through the day and that's what's getting them through this life and whatever, like, who am I to fucking laugh at them or shit on them or tell them that that's not real? And again, I have, and I'll sit down and go back and forth with people and shit like that as to why I don't or whatever. But like, that's the thing. Like, I mean, I've even sat down with pastors and, had chill talks about it. And I told them, yeah, I'm not, I don't really, believe, I'm not religious, but, I do believe there is a higher power. I do believe that there is something working beyond what my comprehension, and, I can do what I can do. And as long as I'm putting out good energy into this world and doing good by people, then, hopefully, things line up for me and shit like that. But, if someone wants to believe whatever the fuck it is, if they're not hurting anybody or impeding on somebody else, then like, by all means, do what you got to do. Because again, like, I feel like the people who want to, make a mockery out of something or kind of look down on something are the people who are kind of lost the most, that are trying to figure out like what to believe and what should I do, what should I believe, what shouldn't I believe, like why am I doing this, why is this happening, instead of just like taking it down to like the foundation and like, again, working on yourself. I feel like so many problems in this world would be maybe not fixed, but like the solution would be a lot more clear if people would just sit down and look at themselves in the mirror and figure out what they're contributing to the problem, as opposed to pointing the finger and saying that's the problem right there. Right. Because it's easy to do that shit.
And that's another thing why I like Christianity. It's kind of like how you live your life is kind of what Christianity is, besides the fact where you say, Jesus, they ask you like, I believe Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. That's kind of like one of the things that separate you, because it's like, if you were like a really listening to Christianity and stuff like that, you listen to the 10 Commandments, you shouldn't kill. Like, we know our rights from wrongs and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So if you're hitting somebody, if you're stealing from somebody, if you're hurting somebody in any type of way, that's wrong. Little things like not helping somebody when you see they're helping, they clearly need help or something like that. It's just like, like you said, just living your life the best of your ability, trying to live right from wrong. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I mean, we all fall victim sometimes. We might cheat a girl. We might cut somebody out in traffic. We all might mess up. But the thing is like, and that's another thing too. And I hate to really go into too many different topics and stuff like that, but it's like another thing that mocks Jesus. Kind of like WWE Roman Reigns. They always be like, I don't know if you tune into that, but his character, they always be like, oh, put your ones up, and acknowledge him as your tribal chief. That's kind of like saying like, I believe Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. You point up to the sky, you're pointing to Jesus. It's like another thing that gets to me. Like, I'll be seeing through the script a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is like, again, WWE, a lot of, artists and shit like that, like they're playing a role at a certain point, so they kind of have to buy into a role and shit like that. Did you
see the 2016 Epstein's? You probably don't remember it.
The Epstein stuff?
Yeah, guess who was hosting it? John Cena. You get a WWE wrestler hosting a sports. That's why another thing I don't like. That's why they always put it in your face a little bit. In the 2016 XPs, he's hosting it, right? Yeah. He's talking about like how WWE is just like the NBA, just like sports. Yeah. Kevin Durant, he's a good guy in OKC. He becomes a bad guy when he goes to Golden State Warriors and stuff like that. LeBron, how he went from being a good guy with the Heat and with the Cavs, goes to the Heat, he's kind of like a bad guy now. People hate on him. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like that. They're all so alike in certain ways.
Well, I just think like putting people on a pedestal has always been weird to me. Even if it, athletes, like I understand admiration and respecting, but like females, putting anybody on a pedestal is weird to me. It's like they're just a person like you and me. Like, sure, maybe they're, maybe a little bit prettier than the average person, or maybe a little bit more athletic, or maybe have a little bit more money, or have a special talent. Hey, I can acknowledge that. I can admire it, but that doesn't make you any better than anybody else. And I feel like people, especially in sports, especially in music, and in movies too, people admire actors and put them on pedestals, and like they can't do any wrong because they have such a great talent, when it's like, no, you could
like
be
R. Kelly.
R. Motherfucking Kelly. God damn.
That's like the number one guy. They look past all the BS, bro. They look past all the BS with R. Kelly. Ooh, he's got a beautiful voice. We love him. Free R. Kelly. I believe I can fly.
I fucking hated that song. I'm not gonna lie.
Man, but he was like, I don't know. I guess his voice for them people, man, it just over.
It's wild.
Can't do no wrong.
It's really wild though. It's wild, and there's still people that will still defend him. There's still people that will defend Diddy. There's still people that will defend fucking Cosby or this person or that person, even though they've. I mean, we were just talking about this earlier. Fucking with all the fucking documentaries about serial killers and the true crime shit, and that shit gets fucking propped up to like, these serial killers are celebrity status and shit like that. And it's like, you understand this person was killing and fucking dead bodies.
Exactly.
And it's just like
island of the celebrities involved,
bro. And then people just will fucking the president. I hate making it political, but presidential candidates, like people will put these politicians on pedestals, these athletes, musicians, fucking serial killers, and put them on pedestals and make them like they're untouchable. And then imagine, I can only imagine if anywhere I go, people were fucking just, oh my gosh, oohing and ahhing and screaming, and you're the man and you can do no wrong, and look at you, and really just making you feel like you are so untouchable. I like to think that, you know, I have a pretty good moral compass and I wouldn't do anything wrong, but like, you don't know until you're in that situation. Like, you don't know what it's like to have that until you are in that. And then, you know, when you feel like you're untouchable and you have powers, then that's gonna, some people feel like they're gonna be able to get away with shit. Fucking R. Kelly. Fucking
Kanye West kind of falls victim to that.
He does, yeah. Fucking the Epstein stuff. I mean, and you know, the whole, you know, all this fucking weird stuff, the Nickelodeon stuff. You saw that?
The producer of iCarly, the guy how he was touching the girl.
Yeah, and it's like, when you feel like you have that type of power, and that's a fucking Nickelodeon fucking guy. So imagine if you're the fucking president of the fucking United States or fucking a world fucking celebrity.
Exactly, and this is who the media portray. Like, these are like the godly people. Like, we should see these people. We should care about what they say and stuff like that. How Orlando Brown turned out, you know what I'm saying? Miley Cyrus, how she branched out from being Hannah Montana and now she want to do different stuff, you know?
So shit is wild. Yeah, that's something I can never get from a young age too. Like, obviously, like, you know, I watched football. I was, you know, LaDainian Tomlinson and Brian Dawkins were my favorite football players growing up. And I was a kid, so I was like, yeah, I want to play like them. I want to be like them, this, that, whatever. But as you get older, it's like, I admire them, I respect them, but like, for me, at least, it's like I just want to be more of my own person. Like, emulate certain things. Like, there's certain things that I take from people that I admire, you know, certain traits that I want to, you know, incorporate into my own life and things like that. But, like, ultimately, the goal is to be the most me I can be.
Right, genuine as you possibly can.
And I understand that it's going to come from different places. Like, I draw inspiration from different places. I draw admiration from different people and things like that. But again, you know, I'm trying to mix it into my own pot and make it my own. So, you know, when somebody does meet me, or if I do talk to somebody that, you know, I leave some type of, you know, impression on them, hopefully a good one, and you know, that, you know, that I feel, you know, just strive for that. I feel like too many people are trying to find themselves in other people, you know, aka celebrities or athletes or rappers or this person or that person. And it's like, you know, you go look all fucking day. Like, where the person that you're trying to find and that you're trying to be is right here inside yourself.
I know some people that want to be like Kodak. It's like, bro, like, you gotta be your own guy.
For real, dog. Like, and it's wild though. It's wild. And I know this shit sounds fucking corny and cheesy, but that shit is the fucking truth. It's the fact. And, you know, people don't want to hear that shit because it doesn't sound cool.
Well, a lot of people robots for real, bro. You ever go to clubs? You know what I'm saying? You just feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they just like,
going to clubs fucking here, suck, bro, because everyone's on their phone or in the section trying to look cool. And the one person who's trying to dance and actually enjoy the club, like, people are looking at him like he's a fucking clown.
Like he's weird, right?
And it's like, bro, isn't this what the club is fucking for? We're supposed to be dancing and vibing and fucking smoking on hookah, drinking, fucking. Exactly. But everybody's too worried about how they fucking look. I don't want to look lame, so let me just be on my phone and fucking look down.
I seen Travis Scott was yelling at some dude in the club for being on his phone up top, though. He ain't had to catch him doing it straight like that, though. But
for real, he went out of his way. He fucking had the scope on. I see
you.
They
put the light on him and everything, bro.
But I went to the Travis Scott concert last year in fucking Orlando. Man, when I fucking tell you, that was.
They got a lot of robots, bro.
Woo, that shit was lit.
People that go to concerts a lot.
Fuck.
They be lit, though. It's like the people are so programmed.
It was,
for Travis,
and there was one of my boys actually, because we go to the same barber, and he was telling him about it, and he told me about it, that it's like, it is kind of like a little cultish.
All they know is Travis,
bro.
You know what I'm saying? Depending on who they're going to go see, it's all about them, bro. You know what I'm saying? It
was a great show. Don't get me wrong. That shit was electric, and all that shit that you hear about Travis Scott being the best performer in the music industry, bro.
True.
The control and the fucking aura and the everything about it was fun. And he brought out Kanye on top of that. So that shit was fucking lit. But like, everything about the show and the music and all that was fucking, it was a great show. But there was a certain point where I am kind of just vibing, whatever. I'm looking around and just really like, man, there's something like kind of like eerie about this. Right? Like, there's something a little like off. Like, it does seem like people were just so fucking tuned into what was going on that it did, like you said, it seemed a little robotic. It seemed a little like mindless, soulless type shit. But like,
cause like the way, you know, that what happened in Houston a long time ago.
Yeah, at the Astroworld shit.
Astroworld. So it's like when people were like going, like when they broke down the gate to get in, it's like they didn't care about anybody on the floor. all they knew was they just had to get to the front. They had to get to the concert.
I guess primal as fuck.
What was
dog.
your experience like around? Like you said, you felt like kind of a little soulless.
So, we were in club seats. So we weren't in like the general admission or anything like that. We had pretty decent seats, and you know, obviously I was dancing, I was vibing, I was turning up and shit like that. But I was also like around a group of my friends as well. Right. So we were probably like 7 or 8 deep. So, you know, there was that, but, you know, looking down at the general admission, the floors, you know, people moshing and shit like that. And you know, again, just the crowd control that he has. I think that's really what it was. The crowd control that he had is second to none. I saw The Weeknd 2 years before that in Miami, and that was a great show too. But like, and he's probably internationally, he's probably a bigger artist. The Weeknd, Scott? Yeah, I would say so. Internationally,
he's on the radio a lot, so anybody that's mainstream like that, I would say you can play him on the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but damn, Travis Scott was something like, and it was. So I went to Hard Rock Stadium to go watch The Weeknd, and over here in Orlando it was at the Kia Center, so it was an arena. It was smaller,
right?
But like I said, the aura, the fucking ambiance, like just kind of the anticipation building up to it and all that shit. It wasn't
worth the hype.
It was definitely worth the hype, but it was like, it was just very like, again, it just did seem like it was kind of, again, a little cultish. It did seem like it was like, I don't even want to say it, but it a little satanic in a sense. Like it was very much like, oh fuck, like, wow.
I even go to.
It was overwhelming,
right?
Overwhelming.
When Bad Bunny came, bro, they were going crazy. I didn't even go to it.
No, he did 2 nights in a row at Camping World.
Did you go to?
Nah, but I know people that went.
Man, he took over with that one too, bro. Like it's just like you said, it's cultish. It's like worship them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like I always say, people are like robots. You ever see that movie? Man, you probably haven't seen it. It's an old movie, man. You should watch it, bro. It's called They See or something like that, bro. It's got like Roddy Piper or something like that, bro.
WWE guy?
Yeah, the WWE guy, but it's in 1988.
Oh, shit.
Keith Sweat, 1998 or something like that. Some old movie. I think They See Us or something like that. Basically, he puts on the glasses, and some people are real, and some people are like a weird robot type of people. Like, I forgot how they label it, bro. They see us, bro. But it kind of like, you know, you look at all these billboards and stuff like that. He puts the glasses on and says, obey, sleep 8 hours, work 8 hours, play 8 hours. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like how they have us in the system.
They live?
They live. You see it on there?
Yeah.
Glasses and stuff like that. Yeah, that's a real good movie to see, bro. It really opened up my eyes a lot. And they had it back then, you know what I mean? 1988.
Bro, have you seen The Matrix?
I haven't seen it. I've been saving it, bro.
Oh, man. I watched that like over the summer. Man, how that shit fucking aged so well. Like, all that shit is so fucking relevant now and shit like that. Great fucking movie. And there's another movie on Netflix called Circle. That's like a sci-fi thriller.
Matrix,
type
should have seen the Matrix already.
They had it on Netflix, bro. I don't know if they took it off or not. But Circle, I know, is on Netflix still. That movie, it's a sci-fi thriller, psychological shit, but it makes you think. And once you start watching it, like, you'll see, you know, the roles that people are playing in society and all this shit. But it really, I think it came out in like 2016 or something like that, 2014. But it's still relevant today. Like, all the fucking, like, all the roles and the people the roles are playing and shit like that. And, you know, if shit were to hit the fan, it shows you how people would react in a sense.
Right.
And I feel like that's something that, and I talked about this on the last podcast, that people kind of forget about, is that even though we're a civilized, you know, society for the most part and all this shit, like, there's still that primal instinct inside of us. We're just filtering it through through a lens of society. So, like, you know, instead of having to go hunt for my food, now it's, you know, getting to this bag. How much money? How many people do I need to step over to get to this bag and get this money? So I know I'm secure. I know I'm good, because that's what's gonna keep me, you know, on top of the food chain, essentially.
And finding food that's actually real. You know, a lot of processed foods, they push out a lot.
Yeah. So like, you know, people have the you know, we still are very primal in our core as people, but again, we're able to filter it through society stuff now. So it's not as barbaric and it's not as savage, but people are still doing fucked up shit. People are still fucking off people and step over people to get to where they're trying to get to and not fucking think twice about it. And it comes from that same.
I feel like you have no soul. You know what I mean? You don't have no anybody that can just walk in front of like a line and not look to see if anybody else is in line. Is an inconsiderate person, bro. You know what I'm saying?
It's like, goddamn, I've been waiting here for fucking 10 minutes.
It's like, lady, I'm in line, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, you're not gonna cut me off. I'll be saying shit though. I don't let you cut me off, but like you didn't even look to see if anybody was in line first, bitch. You just hop right to the front.
Just people in their own fucking world, not giving a fuck.
And that's robot shit to me, bro. It's like, bro, you didn't even care enough to just little stuff like that, you know. You might hit somebody, you know what I'm saying, like a hit and run situation, like the sick stuff that people do nowadays. Yeah.
I feel like not to that extent, but part of me kind of wishes, like, not wishes, but kind of wonders like how much simpler life would be for me if I was like that, like if I wasn't if I didn't think about things so much, because people that are like that must live a fucking, because it's very black and white for them. There's not a lot of gray area. And like life is full of gray area, but if you're operating in that space of like everything is black and white, this is this, and there's no like variation to it, then life must be pretty fucking simple.
So one more time, what is the what is the definition of like seeing white and black? You know what I mean? So
it's just like very like things are and things aren't, instead of like. So like this table is white. There's this Batman thing here, but there's like, so like operating in the like the gray area is the stuff that you can kind of talk about. Like, yes, this is a white table, but like what kind of white table is it? Like, is it an off white? Is it a creamy white? Is it fucking like, whatever, like the Scarface, thing right here. Scarface is a movie, but then the gray area is like, well, is it a good movie? Is it a bad movie? Do you think Al Pacino did a good job? Do you not? Like, that's the gray area where it's kind of like up for debate, up for discussion. Black and white things are like, this is that, and there is like no debate. Like the sky is blue, the grass is green, fucking turtles swim. Like those are things that is black and white, just factual things. Gray area is, all right, well, what kind of turtle is it? Can do turtles breathe water? They got to come up for air. Like, and debating and getting into the conversation of things, which as I get older, I start to learn that most things are gray area. Most things are nuanced. A lot of things, we want to paint them as just this is what it is, but like there's always more to something than what we're seeing, than what the surface is. Then for this, I mean, this records us talking, but like, how is it working? There's things going on inside of this machine that we're able to plug up the mics. It's able to pick up our voices. I have the SD card that's recording the memory on it, so then I can go put it to my laptop. And there's just so much more things than just this is just recording us.
Right. That is very true.
I mean, you could do that with anything. I mean, and with people especially. And that's another thing. Like, people want to live in like this perfect society and expect us to be, we should know better by now. But like, again, it goes back to what we've been saying. Like, people don't even barely know themselves. So then how can you expect for the next person to know better when you don't even want to figure yourself out? You don't even want to take the time to figure you out, and you live with yourself every day of your fucking life.
Right.
And like the expectation that you have for yourself as opposed to the expectation that you have for people is usually a little skewed. You usually have either a much higher expectation of yourself than everybody else or a much lower expectation of yourself than everybody else. And there's not really a lot of like, all right, well, I know what I can bring to the table. I know what I do, but I also can't expect me and everybody else. So you kind of have to let people prove themselves instead of placing expectations on them, because again, more times than not, they're probably going to disappoint you, and then that's when you start building resentment and I don't trust this, or I got to do everything on my own and this, that, whatever. And it's like, no, like you got to give people chances to learn and make mistakes, and that's fucking life.
So common sense isn't so common, maybe.
Nope.
You know what I mean? So basically, but you see how, but it starts at the top. You see how the government treats us. Yeah. If you walk up in the DMV, you ask a certain questions, like the lady that whoever's helping you, be like, you didn't know you had to turn in this paper before you had to do this. This is why your license is messed up. Sometimes they're mean. Sometimes I don't know. But if you ask a cop a certain question, sometimes Depends on who you get. I mean, the government is just like people. Sometimes you run into bad cops. Sometimes you run into good cop. So,
I mean, it's just, and the way that I think about it is that everything is ran by people. The government, fucking grocery stores, fucking.
I'm not so certain that the government is ran by people. Honestly, I don't.
Aliens,
don't know, bro.
The aliens.
I won't say aliens. Maybe the lizard.
The lizard people.
I don't know, but there's something up with them, man. They like that guy that came up like, Senator, what's your thoughts on this? And he just sits there. He doesn't say anything.
Fucking autistic as fuck.
He's like, he just sits there like, I swear he swallowed something, bro. Like,
shit.
I don't know what's going on. Like people like Joe Biden, and then. Sometimes they be looking like they wearing masks. Remember that lady that came out of nowhere that was on the plane? She was like, I know this motherfucker isn't real. She was the one that wasn't real. She had something on her neck. Like, you don't she made one Instagram post and then you never see her again.
Hey, the
like
lizard
little
people.
Weird stuff like that, bro. Like
that's funny as
like
fuck.
Trump almost getting shot. It's like the little weird stuff that they push out to us and that they make us see. Why did this person go viral? Why did Hawk Tua go viral? You know? So it's like little stuff that they trying to like drive.
I mean, do you believe, back to the question you asked me this a little bit ago, do you believe everything happens for a reason? Or do you believe in like there like things, obviously like there's chain reaction to things, but also some things can just be coincidence.
Right. I mean, I don't believe in coincidence at all, bro. Like I feel like if a peanut come and land on your head, bro, it happened for a reason for the type of shit. Like there's something behind it. There's like deeper meanings to a lot of things that go on. I feel like when people die, they just don't die for no reason unless you're really like a John Doe type of person. Yeah. Like I met some type of like soulless, just so in their own world type of people, and it's like, you know, sometimes they can be real violent. Sometimes they can be like, you know, I don't know how they survive so long in prison. You know what I mean? So it's just like the way I view people, bro. I you know, it's only real and fake to me, bro. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of fake people out there that just kind of like go with the crowd, you know?
Yeah.
Go with whatever's popular. Go with whatever they think is right. Like if somebody having a lot of money, oh, that's my friend. You know what I mean? Yeah. I ran into a lot of people like that, soulless people like that. That don't really. But
I feel that goes into. I mean, specifically that I feel like that kind of goes into survival shit, like being friends with somebody who's got a lot. You know, they got a lot, so like instinctively you want to be around them because you know you might get something from it, and like I don't know.
Yeah, I feel money like is the root of all. You know what I'm saying? So like everything. I
also feel like people are the root of all evil, not money. Because I mean, you can say that because I mean it's the same thing with money. It's the same thing with guns. Guns are not bad inherently. But it's the way that they make us rely on it, though. But it's
so important. I mean, money might not be evil, but it's important, and people. But
we made it that way. The money didn't make it that way. We made it that way because it's still
like the top of the top made it that way.
Still people though, and we as the people have bought into it. That's the thing that, and maybe I'm delusional in this sense, but I feel like we as common everyday people have more power than we give ourselves credit for. Because if we just stop consuming certain things, if we just stop buying something,
stop paying bills.
What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? And I mean, obviously, I'm not condoning to not pay your bills. Like, fuck, you know, we got to make a living. You got kids out here and shit.
I definitely agree. It should be one day where all American people say, "Hey, fuck bills. We're not paying."
And we just stand together. What are they gonna do?
They'll call all our lights off. You know what I mean?
For real. Well, then there's no more money flow. There's no more cash flow. So then what? Like that just stops the economy. Like there's such a chain reaction that goes to that. And like again, like we've seen it. For the one that sticks out to me the most, fucking well, I guess there's a couple, but when they came out with Sonic the Hedgehog movie, right, the original fucking animation for it was fucking boo boo. Yeah. And they fucking internet bullied these people. Like, we're not gonna fucking watch this movie if this is the Sonic you're gonna put out. And they fucking redesigned the Sonic to look like the fucking cartoon.
Bro. Yeah, it's crazy what people choose to stand
right. The fucking another one, the Aunt Jemima stuff. How it's like Pearl Milk Company now, the syrup and all that shit. They took Aunt Jemima off that shit, right? Because they deemed it. No, it's still because I guess they were saying it was racist or whatever. But it's like the fucking Washington Redskins are now the Commanders, because people were like, no, well that's racist. When the funny thing is about it, like the actual like Native American people were like, no, we don't care. Like you can keep it,
right?
But people were just. That's also one thing that people would just get so mad for somebody when the other person is like, no, I don't give a fuck. Like, why are you mad for me? I'm not even mad.
Right.
And then they'll get shit changed. But yeah, it's weird what people will fucking stand on and will just kind of like turn a blind eye to.
Right, but then they allow money to be sent to Ukraine like crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, who really has a decision on that? They just kind of like make their own decisions in certain ways, but they use our money, our little check, our checks that they always taking out everybody's check, paying all these tolls. We didn't even ask for these. You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff we didn't ask for. They just put it. They just make decisions.
And then, but people will just fucking fall in line. They won't question shit and just like, all right, well, this is life now. And just
that's another thing I don't like, when people just fall in line. You know what I'm saying? It's like, have some backbone, speak up for yourself.
But that's
know your rights. You know. But
that's not how. That's not the school system. That's not the workforce. It's not made for people to speak their mind. It's made, especially, I mean, for me at least, for school. I was never really great in school. Not that I couldn't do the work. I just, with math, seventh grade, I kept off in math. That was it for me. But it wasn't that I couldn't do it, but it's like, you just want me to fucking regurgitate information, put it down on a piece of paper, turn it in, and then just continue that process. Like, where's the, tell me, where's the critical thinking in that? Where's the, thinking outside the box in that? It is very just, robotic in that sense. And
I remember I was like that in middle school, where the jokester, the hood drug dealer, you know what I'm saying? He'd be like, man, we ain't gonna learn none of this. I'm like, and back then when I was a little robot, I'm thinking like, man, what is this dude talking about? We supposed to be learning this stuff, get a good grade,
right.
But the dude was right, bro. You know what I'm saying?
It's like most of the shit you're not gonna need. Like I said, after seventh grade, math was hard for me. I struggled in math. But I also understood at that point, it's like, I'm probably not going to go into any field that I'm going to need to know the fucking square root of fucking whatever fucking number or fucking the Pythagorean theorem. I'm not going to need to know all this shit.
They don't teach us laws in school. That should be something that, if you're making laws, everybody should know them. Why not teach them?
They barely. I had an economics class my senior year in high school. So I started learning about taxes and shit my senior year. But at that point, you do a semester of that and that's what they give you. I mean, and I've been on record of saying this. I think psychology should be a core class. You have to take science all 4 years. You have to take math, history, fucking geography. I think psychology, because you're dealing with people all the time. So even with science, maybe I'm not gonna take any of this shit, but it has to, there might be a time where, I remember I learned this in such and such class, and now I can take. But psychology is something that you use every day. You're dealing with people every day. You're dealing with yourself every day. So even if it's not even if you, don't have a full grasp and understanding of it, at least you have some surface level knowledge of it.
Right.
That again, then you can kind of say this situation comes up. Oh, I remember learning this in psychology class in my fucking sophomore year, instead of fucking algebra. Fuck.
Right. But I mean, they should automatically put finances in there. Shit
for sure.
Credit, teaching people how to really build credit, but they never want to teach us stuff that really, really useful in life.
Because fucking, if you teach people
to struggle.
Yeah, if you want
all of us to win.
The higher ups want a lot of people to struggle, because that's how they're keeping their money in their pocket. The more poor people there are, the more money there is to funnel up to the top, because they're hoarding the money. If they're not giving it, if there's more poor people and they don't have as much money, that money's got to go somewhere. It's not just floating out in the fucking world. Somebody has control of that money.
Exactly.
And usually it's the fucking higher ups, the elites, the big corporations, all that shit. And again, people, we've grown so accustomed to convenience at this point, and just everything being convenient. So we'll fall in line with things. We'll pay the extra, the service fee for our Uber Eats to get here because I don't want to drive and go get it, or we'll pay the extra fucking.
That sounds like something you done with personal experience type of shit. Have you done shit like that before?
Shit, fuck,
I did that recently.
We're all guilty of it.
And
we're all guilty of
that shit, bro. As soon as that shit was on the way, I'm like, man, I should just got my ass up and drove and got that shit.
Yep, but the convenience is definitely for as great as it is, it definitely is it's a crippler of society at this point, and it's. We're too much relying on convenience.
Right.
Convenience is nice, but if that's all you're relying on is everything to be convenient for you and everything to just be there at the palm of your fucking hands, then that's when it turns into a bad thing. Anything in excess is bad.
Yeah, like excessive something like excessive ketchup would be bad for you.
Too much working out, too much sleep, eating too much of one thing, not eating enough of if you're doing something too much, it could ultimately be bad. Because with working out, you got to let your body rest. If you sleep too much if you don't move around enough and you're still too much, then your body will start fucking breaking down and you're not using your muscles. So your body's like, well, he doesn't need to use these. So we're not gonna fucking supply nutrients and blood and all that shit to those muscles that aren't being used. We're gonna pump that to the brain and the heart and the things that need to keep you alive. But that's why you see old people fucking hunched over, fucking crouched all fucking like this and shit, because they stop moving. They stop being active. The second you stop being active, that's already the downfall.
I don't know what said this. It was like a study that said something about we're gonna be like more hunched over because like we're so used to like looking down on our phone or something like that. So
I saw that shit too. I don't know how true that is, but it makes sense.
Right. Because they back then, they had to do everything old school. Like they had to physically, like if you had to go bust down in a bit, you can't just hit him in the DMs. You had to physically go and might have to talk.
Hello,
to
madam.
type of shit. You know what I mean? Like,
may I interest you in some coffee or some shit? Like, fucking, you gotta woo them.
Is that how you pulling up on?
Hell yeah, with the accent and everything. Fuck.
You're going to a different
in my fucking
crowd.
top hat and all that shit.
You going for a different crowd, my boy.
Yeah, I like my women mature.
Nah, that's what. But what's your take on like females nowadays, and what really drives them to be who they are?
Oh, man.
It's kind of hard to speak to them as a whole, right?
Yeah, we're talking from like a social media standpoint, a general standpoint. It's a lot of over sexualizing with OnlyFans, with fucking, creating content with all that shit. Which again, if that's what you're doing to hustle and that's what you're making your money with, more power to you. But also like there's consequences to everything. So, for example, if
might hear it when they go to school,
your son might hear it, or you might not be able to be in a decent relationship. You're making all this money and all this shit, but at what cost? You're shaking your ass and showing your pussy for fucking $15 so anybody can see it. At a certain point, yeah, it might seem cool if you're, fucking around with a chick that does OnlyFans, but then you're trying to build, create a family. You got to introduce them to your family. Like,
be honest, have you ever purchased somebody's OnlyFans before? Never?
No. I dated a chick that had OnlyFans, though.
You dated an OnlyFans girl?
Yeah.
Man, that's probably
it was
messy
rough
as hell. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very.
I remember, I was messing with a Snapchat creator or whatever, man.
Shit.
Even worse. With their expectations, man.
Yeah. Well,
the way they think. I didn't interview one of them. Nah, it's gonna be messy.
Nah, dude, I'll fucking do that shit. Well, if you can find a chick that would be down to come on here, and I'll do it. Man, I won't give a fuck. I'll ask all the questions.
I definitely need to get into that.
Real shit, well, because like you said, like
the thing is, you hear a lot of them speak though, and you really kind of instantly regretting it because it's like. That's your thought process. That's what's going through your mind,
And trust me, I was living that shit, and it was just like, what the fuck? Like, how is that a priority over anything right now? Like, there was a moment when I was dating this chick that she was getting mad at me because I wasn't posting her on my social media. Mind you, the last time I posted on my Instagram, like on my grid, was like March of 23. The only time I really post on my Instagram is if I'm, promoting the podcast or anything like that. Like
wait, is the No Hangover Podcast? That's your only Instagram?
No, I have my own personal one.
Okay, I couldn't find that for nothing. You don't broadcast that one.
Nah, I don't fucking because I barely even use it. Like if it wasn't for the podcast and like to stay in the loop, I probably wouldn't be on social media. But she got mad because I wasn't posting her enough. Now all that considered, I don't really post. I'm not really a social media guy, all this. I'm like, well, I'm trying to introduce you to my family. Like, how do you not Stephanie feel like
sun with face, monkey.
How can you not think I'm not taking you seriously when I'm trying to introduce you to my family? Right. And you're mad that I'm not posting you on Instagram? I'm like, I understand, again, because that's what people hold value in is like, show me to, but like the people that I'm showing, like most of the people on my Instagram, I could give a fuck about.
Right.
The people I'm trying to introduce you to, I give all the fucks about. Like, those are the people that I want. Like, I want to know that we're together. Like, I don't give a fuck if anybody on my Instagram fucking knows.
Right.
Like, and it's things like that is like, damn, the perception is like you're more worried about social media perception than like your perception in actual reality and like in the world and shit like that.
Was she posting you a lot too, or
no?
Oh, so she just wanted all the notoriety and stuff like that.
Well, I didn't really dig too much deeper into why, because at that point I'm just like, I can't believe I'm fucking having this argument, this conversation right now with you. But
how long did that last? That OnlyFans relationship
lasted a while.
A while, wow. That's I'm shocked. I'm thinking you already realized the bullshit. And
I mean, I did, but there was at a certain point, like I was trying to give her outs essentially because I really did care about her. I wanted to be with her. Like, besides all that shit, like I did, like there was a connection there. Like I really did fuck with her.
Bit, maybe.
Yeah, I would. I do kind of have a little bit of a savior complex, a little bit, just a tad. But again, time spent with each other and all this shit, and there was a lot of stuff. So like at a certain point, I'm like, well, maybe we can, this can work. I do like her. I do want to be with her. When we're together, it's fun. Like we can talk and shit like that. But again, when it came to the serious, mature stuff, then that's when it started. I'm like, all right, yeah, this is not going anywhere.
Was she financially stable? Or was OnlyFans really blown up for her?
No. Really,
it was too. I don't know what you about to say.
Bro, I'll tell you this shit when we get off the cameras, dog. Yeah, dog. I was in deep.
Man.
Yeah, dog.
I mean, so I guess you can't really answer that though, but yeah, I never really dated no OnlyFans. I kind of I got a couple friends, prostitutes, whatever they do on the side and stuff like that. But man, I just really can't get. But most of their minds are really locked in on one thing. Money really is. They really do offer the money though.
Yeah.
I mean, the money is important though.
Yeah. And I mean, it's an important part, but I'm someone that I'm not very money driven. Like I understand the importance of money, but like I'm not going to let that shit run my life. Like money comes and goes. There's times where I've had a lot of money and I was happy. There's times where I've had a little bit of money and I've been happy. Like I learned pretty young that like that's not what's going to make me happy. Like obviously it helps. Obviously, yeah, I want to be financially stable. Obviously, I like having money, but like, it's not gonna. I know how to be happy with or without money. So like, that's for me. I'm like, in that situation, she was working another job, and I was trying to help her find other means to like substitute that. But the comparison that I like to make is that OnlyFans for girls is like dealing drugs for guys. It's easy money. It's fast money. It's going to be there. Like it might not be the fucking best for your reputation. There's certain, consequences. Obviously with drug dealing, you can go to jail and shit like that. OnlyFans, you're not really going to jail, but it can, people find out it can hurt your reputation. It can kind of hurt, if you're trying to apply somewhere for a job and they see that shit, they might not want to hire you and shit like that. So like again, and I respect the hustle with either way. Like, again, you got to make your money. You got to pay your bills. You got to feed, yourself. You got to, take care of people and shit like that. But, there's consequences to everything. There's consequences to being an OnlyFans chick and, fucking on social media and putting all that shit out there and the perception that you get from that. There's consequences from being a drug dealer and getting that fast money and pushing that shit. But, again, the reputation, the lifestyle that comes with it, it might not be as fulfilling and shit like that. So, you gotta have to find that balance between financial success and your own happiness.
Right.
So,
but the thing is with that world, and then the females, like OnlyFans girls, strippers, they get mad when you come at them a certain way, but it's like, this is what you're kind of egging on. I mean, I don't want to sound like a rapist, like, oh, she was so cute, I just had to do it. That'd be their bullshit ass excuse. Yeah. But it's like at the same time, and I'm not agreeing with raping anybody. But the thing is with that is like, so if a girl's twerking on the gram, right? If I hit you up and be like, yo, let me eat it from the bag or something like that, am I wrong for that? This is what you're displaying. But then they're gonna be mad and be like, oh, that's all I'm trolling. Yeah. How are you trolling if you're posting ass pictures? Yeah, you gotta hit you a certain way. Now I'm the bad guy.
Yeah, I mean, and that goes back to just kind of understanding what especially on social media, anything that I post on social media, automatically understand that that's up for anybody to comment on, to leave whatever, if they want to fuck with me, if they want to say something nice, say something mean, that they don't fuck with it, if they like what I said, if they don't like what I said, it's open for criticism at this point because it's social media. Like, it's in the fucking name, like it's out there. So like, and again, you know, to add to that, you know, the reputation, you know, if you're a chick that's showing ass and throwing ass on the gram all the time, you're going to build a certain reputation on social media, and dudes are going to think you're easy. Whether you're easy or not, that's one thing, but you're putting the perception out there that you're, you know, highly sexual, you're throwing ass, you're doing something that, you know, dudes like seeing ass being thrown back at them, especially when you're fucking. Like, that's just like, that goes back into that natural primal shit. Same thing with some dude that's, you know, flashing money all the time, fucking flashing all their jewels, flashing the possessions and shit, and then wonder why they're only getting superficial girls.
That's true.
And you wonder why they're only getting girls that want them for their money, their car, their this, their that. And it's like, well, because look what you're putting out there. You're putting out that's what is important to you: your money, your car, you know, this, that, whatever. So you're gonna attract girls that, oh damn, like he's got it, like. If I get his baby, then I'm good for life, or I don't have to work, or I don't have to do this, and that's the type of shit you're attracting.
Right. Kind of like that Devin Haney's baby mama, how she's begging for Young Thug. It's like, I know she ain't begging just for Thug how he is as a person. You know what I mean? So it's definitely
the
like
lifestyle that comes with it. Yeah,
what he has is definitely drives her to freaking cry about him on the jail phone. That was ridiculous, bro.
Fuck. We got a solid hour and 10 in.
Really?
Yeah, bro.
Man, we went all.
That's what I'm saying. The hour is easy now. Hour is easy for me now. I want to probably not. Maybe probably by like May time. I want to start getting into like, you know, maybe not all the time, but do like, you know, little 2-hour podcasts and shit like that. Have it a little bit more structured and shit like that, but. Yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised, you know, hour goes by fucking quick, especially when you're talking to somebody, when the conversation's going, that shit goes by fucking quick. But on that note, you know, anything you want to leave off, any last words you want to say before we sign out?
I feel like there's one more question I got to ask you. Really, I just got to know before we head out, bro. Man, what can I really, the main reason is like, wanted to ask you about like, have you ever came across an artist? I actually just off comment beforehand, but have you ever worked with an artist or somebody you just don't really respect? I mean, you respect what they do, but you don't really like what they do. You
don't like the product.
Like maybe they're not as successful. Maybe they just not, the talent wise isn't there, but they're trying though.
Yeah.
How do you feel about, you know, what do you tell them? Like, hey, you can't come on the platform. Can you come on the platform? How do you deal with that?
I try to do it more based off personality and like the person. There's been a couple times where I've had people on that I'm, you know, I don't really like. There's this one person in particular that, you know, at the time I thought he was a cool dude. You know, he seemed pretty genuine, and you know, he makes music. I was not really a fan of his music. It's more like I said, the, you know, Trippie Redd, you know, Lil Uzi Vert, you know, type rock star, you know, rap type shit, and that's just not really my vibe.
Right.
But it seemed to be working for him. He had a vision, he had a plan, he had a goal. You know, he was committed to it, and he was what I thought at that time. I thought he was a pretty genuine dude. So that's kind of what I go off of. It's not necessarily, and it might be a little, maybe not, because you are more in that you know, realm of, you know, having artists on and you want to do that. So there's definitely gonna, and I'm sure it has already, times where you're talking to somebody, you think they're cool, but you don't really fuck with their music like that. Right. For me, at least, just because of the type of podcast that I'm trying to do, you know, obviously I want them to, you know, be doing something, you know, whether they're artists or they're entrepreneur of some sort, or they're, you know, knowledgeable in finances or whatever the case may be, in sports or whatever. And that's what I want to bring, more of the personality. And, you know, say, like, again, in this, you know, specific example, if I wasn't really a fan of the music, I told him, like, he was asking me about it, and I told him straight up, I was like, yeah, no, I don't really, you know, fuck with your music that much. It's not really my vibe. But I do respect what you're doing. Like, I see the vision. I respect the hustle. Like, that's something that, for me at least, like, I'll always respect that. I'll always respect somebody trying to go out and get theirs and fucking do it how they see fit. because that's how I feel like I am. Like I'm trying to go out and get mine how I see fit, how I feel like it's gonna work for me. So even if I don't necessarily like the product, like, hey, I respect the hustle.
Right.
And then, you know, from there again, you know, especially for, you know, this podcast, you know, I do want to go more in depth with people and kind of, yeah, you do music, yeah, you're an entrepreneur, yeah, you did this, yeah, you did that, but like, who are you? Like, who the fuck are you? Like,
right. And I was gonna ask you, what is the No Hangover podcast? What can people expect every video from you?
Man, the truth,
The truth, really,
honesty,
right?
good conversation. I don't really, in my own life, my mom always told me, you know, don't sugarcoat shit, you know, be honest. If people aren't going to like you for that, so be it. But, you know, I'd rather be disliked for being honest than like for sugarcoating shit and telling people what they like to hear. I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke. I'm not going to sit here and fucking, you know, if I don't agree with something, I'll tell you. If I agree with it and I like what you're saying, I'll tell you. But I'm very much open to conversation. One of the and this is somebody that I discovered after I was doing the podcast, but something that really inspired me was this guy named Daryl Davis. He was a jazz musician, and this guy, he has a book out. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast a few years ago, but he by himself single-handedly. That's not, you know, talking about all the, you know, seminars and things that he's went to. He's, what's it called? He would sit down with people from the KKK and through the power of conversation, get them to put their robes down and leave that lifestyle. And that's something that's so, you know, racism is something that is so like a mental thing. It's a brainwashed thing. So you have to retrain somebody's mind. And the fact that he was able to sit down with people that literally just despised him just because of how he looked, for nothing else, just because of the color of his skin. And he was able to sit down and talk with them and just, all right, one conversation led to 2, led to 5, led to 10, to eventually leading people to like, oh, damn, like I was wrong for thinking like this. Like, let me stop and, you know, rethink my life and turn a new leaf.
Change his whole perspective on black people.
Bro.
That's crazy.
And imagine if you could do that on 2 extremes. Imagine how you could do that with somebody who agrees with you, just has a different, you know, perspective on it or has a different, you know, approach to it. And I feel like that's the common thing for a lot right now. It's like a lot of people have the same issues or agree on the same things, but they just have a different approach to it. And people will find a reason to argue about shit instead of just like, all right, well, okay, this is what we agree on. All right, we can start here. All right, so now where is the disconnect? Why is it that I feel like my way is going to work better than your way? Or why don't I like your way and I like my way? And then you start to find out that it's like, oh, well, we were a lot similar anyways than I thought. And like, actually, your way actually works too. And like, I respect that shit. And or you might find out, yeah, no, I still don't like it. But hey, at least I'm able to understand. Right. Because that, for me at least, like understanding eliminates fear. If you understand something, how can you be scared of it?
Right. People always fear of the unknown. That's what they always say.
Yep. So like, that's really what I try to do with this. And, you know, why I like having so many different people on and things like that, because, you know, if you're not able to talk about something, then that's where it stops, and the problem will continue to be the problem.
And are you gonna just keep doing podcasts? Or are you gonna branch out? Maybe you might go out and start trolling people, or you might do public interviews. Is you just sticking to the No Hangover podcast?
I might, just for extra content and because, you know, certain interests, I might start doing like album reviews and shit like that. And, you know, once, you know, football starts picking back up, I do watch basketball, but I really don't care about basketball until after football's over anyways and shit like that. So I do like UFC a lot. You know, start doing, you know, more kind of like maybe, you know, stuff that is kind of more of your lane, like little 15-minute things, but like put them out and like just like, again, do an album review or fucking give my take on this, you know, UFC event or this football game coming up or whatever the fuck, or, you know, the NBA playoffs are starting. Like, what am I and things like that, just to kind of put more content out there. But I mean, I'm open to anything, man. I mean, we have a lot of episodes out, so, you know, it's a lot to, you know, skim through and shit like that. But if you know, look through it and shit like that, like, you know, it'd be very easy to tell that I'm I'm game for a lot of shit. Like if you tell me, you know, this is what you want to do, you have a plan, and if I could help and add to it, or if it's for me and I can make it happen and make it work, then hey, I'm for it. Like let's make it fucking happen. Yes, so that's I'm kind of, you know, starting from square one again in a sense, but instead of, you know, starting from square one and not knowing anything, I have 5 years of knowledge and experience and shit like that. So, you know, I'm hoping this time around it is, you know, a little bit more of how I see it can be. So,
yeah. I got you. Yeah, I was thought more of like, because I was like, my first impressions was a No Hangover Podcast. My bad, we slurring my words. My first impression was just like, you know, more of like the more real stuff, more genuine stuff, like not more of like, I wouldn't think like, I'm not going to your pages to hear you talk about like, you're not going to talk about Gorilla and Bossman D-Lo doing whatever they do, you know, drop the album and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I never took it as that. I always took it as like, yeah, you want to get down to the facts, you want to put people on game with certain things, more adult things, I would say. Me, I'm a little more childish, but I did definitely want to branch in and like, see where you were coming from your podcast views and stuff like that. Yeah.
No, I mean, and there's a you know, space and a lane for everything. Like I said, if you go to our earlier shit, I would, you know, indulge in the bullshit and fucking fuck around and troll and laugh. Like I'm a pretty fucking easygoing guy. I like to make jokes and fuck around and laugh and all that shit. So like, but I mean, I guess I don't know. I guess that's just the direction that this has gone in now. Now that it's just solely me and you know, I'm the one that's pretty much creating the content. Like I said, I do want to get more into music stuff and talking about music and you know, new artists that I'm into and albums that I like, and when shit comes out, and kind of get more into that, because that's something that we used to talk about a little bit more, and it's kind of gone lost a little bit. But for me, music, I like talking to somebody about music. I don't like just giving my opinion on it. I like going, because it's so objective. Like what I like, and I feel like I have a pretty good, you know, taste in music, and you know, I listen to all types of shit. Right. But you know, what I like might not be what is necessarily popular or what everybody else likes or what the mainstream shit is. So I do need to kind of, you know, I'll listen to it, but I won't give it much mind. So when it was me and my friend Jordan, that was the one that I would, you know, we would go back and forth about music a lot. He has his hand more on the pulse of like, you know, the newer shit, the stuff that's coming out more, and like I'm a little bit more selective with it. So, you know, he would give me game on that, and you know, I would listen to it, give my take, shit like that, and I would kind of give him game on kind of like the deep cuts of certain artists, or this is some shit that, you know, sounds like this guy, but I like, you know, his beat selection better than I like this dude, or his delivery better than I like from this guy or whatever. But so I mean, it was, as far as like with music, I like the back and forth more than it's just, here, this is what I like, this is what I think of it, and that's it. Because like I said, I feel like, you know, like we were saying, there's a lot of gray area in music. Right. So it is.
I feel like, yeah, there's definitely a lot of like, I don't know, like a lot of people like, what is real music? You know, like you're listening to like, you can go from listening to Ice Spice or something like that, or the 1900 Rugrat, the dude, the white cracker movement that's coming up now and stuff like that. So it's like, music is definitely in an interesting place. Man, as far as rap goes, honestly, I don't really branch out into the mainstream stuff, like, you know, like country or like
country music. I don't really fuck
like
with
that. You know, I don't really fuck with country like that either. I don't really know what's going on in that world, or what the sales are looking like now. It's just I'm mainly into rap, honestly, man. I fall victim to that. I do need to branch out and listen to the other music as well.
Yeah, I mean, last thing, but because like for me, like I grew up having all different types of influences as far as music. Like I'm Puerto Rican, so obviously I listen to a lot of side to side, you know, shit like that from my grandparents and shit like that. But, you know, my mom listened to a lot of 80s music, a lot of 90s music. The radio station that she had on was 105 point something, and it was the 80s, 90s, and today. So like that's where I listen. I know a lot of 80s and 90s music from that. You know, my uncle my aunt and my uncle lived across the street from me, and he listens to like a lot of Coldplay or alternative shit like that. And there were songs from that I remember listening to him, riding in the car with him that I'm like, oh damn, as a little kid liking it. And now that I have, all these, I'll go and download all that shit. And more recently, I've been more into like deep house music and like instrumentals in that sense. Like my favorite artist right now is Kaytranada. DJ, he does like dance music, house music, shit like that. But like he works with a lot of R&B artists and is inspired from a lot of 90s R&B. So he's able to, fuse the two together. And I think he doesn't get enough credit just because of the genre that he's in, because he's in like house and like dance music and shit like that. But if he was a rap producer, bro, he would be getting a lot more love and shit like that. But
house music is more beats, right? It's more lyrics.
And I've always been more of an instrumental beats guy before I listen to lyrics. Lyrics, I mean, obviously, like, rap being the popular music growing up and shit like that. Like, obviously, I fuck with rap and I listen to lyrics and shit. But man, if the beat's not catching me and if I can't move or dance to it, if that shit's not making me fucking move and shit, I'm like, I really could give a fuck what you're saying on there. Right.
That's why a lot of people don't like Eminem. He's got the lyrics, he's got the delivery, it's just the beats. I wish differently.
Yeah, so I think that definitely fits my personality though. Like I like to think of myself as like a man of the world. Right. Like I like different things. I like people introducing me to different things, trying different shit. But I also know what I like at the same time too. So like, in those moments, like I'll be in the moment, I'll embrace it, but also I'm not gonna force myself to like something just because it's something new or someone that I trust is putting me onto something. If I don't like it, I don't like it. That's it. It's like I listened to it, I heard it. Oh yeah, not really my vibe, but I see the appeal to it, but it's not really for me. So I try to keep that mix of like keeping myself open, keeping my ears, my eyes open, but also understanding myself and what I like and not trying to fit into something that I don't fit into just for the sake of it. So
like country or something.
Yeah, and there's some country songs that I like. My stepdad, he was white and his mom was from West Virginia. So they're, from the South, like deep in West Virginia. So there's definitely some older country music that I like and shit like that, and some folky shit that I'll fuck with and shit like that. But I think I just trying to find an appreciation for shit. Right. And whether I like it or not, good music is good music. Whether it works for me or not, that's one thing. But like, there's usually, if I don't like a song, that's one thing. But there's very few times that if I don't like it, it's because it's a bad song. Like the mainstream stuff, the pop stuff, like there's definitely a formula to it now. So like people know how to make hits now. Right. There's certain things that are gonna make you move, make you dance, gonna be catchy, shit like that. Might not necessarily be for me, and it's like, yeah, I don't like it, but that is a good song. Like I see why it's charting, I see why people like it, things like that.
Right.
So
like Bad Bunny, like
Bad Bunny, yeah.
Might not even understand.
Even in the beginning, when he first started coming out, I didn't really fuck with Bad Bunny. But as he started putting out more music and shit like that, I'm like, okay, I understand like why people fuck with him. Right. And then this last album that he put out, even my grandpa, old school fucking Puerto Rican dude, doesn't like reggaeton. It's vulgar, it's this, that, whatever. He was fucking with the album. Right. So I'm like, damn, let me give this shit a listen then, because it must be good. And then I listened to it, and then I see why he liked it, because Bad Bunny was getting into the roots of like real Puerto Rican culture. He sampled a lot of old salsa songs and shit like that, and really, tapped into that. So I'm like, I understand why my grandpa liked it. Now it's probably nostalgic for him, shit like that. So, even if I don't like something, I'll try to understand why people are liking it, or like why somebody is, fucking with this, or why someone is not, and try and dig deeper than I don't like it. Bye. Right. So,
I got you.
But yeah, man. Well, we're gonna do this again for sure. We'll definitely be in touch. We'll collaborate more and shit like that. Because we did an hour and a half pretty damn easy, and we could probably go for another fucking 30 minutes easy. But it's a weekday, and I got to be up for work, and you got to go to work.
I got to go to work.
We got to fucking pay bills and be adults and shit like that. But yeah, man, I appreciate it on pretty short notice. This is the first time that I've done a podcast with somebody that we meet and then just do a podcast. But right. I figured because you already been doing podcasts that it was gonna be pretty easy. So yeah, with that, that's what 204, right? 204 in the books. I might be wrong. I'm pretty sure it's episode 204 in the books. We'll catch y'all next week. Everybody love everybody. Deuces.
Yes, sir, man. Yeah, that was easy.